back. We took a few weeks off. We're back with Rick Mauch with the Burlington Record doing our weekly in the news segment.
Yeah.
It's good to have you back. It's been a few weeks.
Has been a little bit. What we take 2 weeks off? Yeah,
2 weeks.
A lot of things happen. A lot of things happening this week, as you can see from the front page.
It's good. I like it when we do it on Wednesdays.
Yeah,
because
I do
then
too.
you have a picture of the paper, and that's neat.
And Courtney's doing an amazing job of designing the front page and totally local. Now, most of the time we are completely local. If it's not a local generated story, it's at least something that is of interest to the locals. But this is all locally generated this week, and that's great. That's what you like to see.
That's good. That means there's a lot of things going on, and it feels like a lot of positive things. So.
A lot of things going on, and of course the website. We're still, that's still going strong. We had a story the other day on the website, by the way, that in a single day got 5,100 hits.
Wow, which story?
It was it was one about Colorado had shot to the top nationally in terms of COVID problems because the way things have been handled, and I'm trying to figure out a good way to say this, because I do think across the state, first of all, let me say, if I were at the helm trying to handle COVID, I would have probably, if you were to give that responsibility to me and say, Rick, this is yours, take care of it, figure it out, I would probably have just gone home and locked myself in my basement and said, call me when it's fixed.
But what was the issue? Because
but the issue was that cases had risen in Colorado, and part of it was that maybe among the things that we've done, we backed off in some areas too soon, didn't pay enough attention to some areas.
I guess I missed that.
Yeah, and when I posted it, I thought, well, okay, I guess that's not really good news, but it seems to me like, I'm vaccinated. I'm able to go out and wear without a mask now, and yes, I do still keep one handy in case it's, I'm walking into a building where there's 5,000 people, but for the most part, we can go out, we can enjoy life, and so I kind of was a little puzzled, but
I'll have to go back and look at that and look at the numbers.
But yeah, that one story in one day got over 5,100 hits, and that's more than
good.
That's more than the population of Burlington.
Yeah, that means you have other people reading it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, the website's going great. Got some great stuff up on it today. Do you know, let me open it up here real quick. No, I don't want to know how my Ameriprise account is doing. Oh, it made money. Good. Let's see. Yeah, here's a couple of stories. Breaking news: Colorado S.A.T. and A.C.T requirements of public colleges. You don't have to do that anymore.
Yep, I saw that.
We are the first state in the U.S. to dispense with those as
I think we might be the
requirements.
second. I have to fact check you on that. I think California already did it.
This is the first. We didn't write it.
We'll have to fact check that. I have to fact check. I'm pretty sure California already did it.
I don't know, man. It's on the Burlington
Who is
Record.
it? But who's on there? Who wrote the article?
I think we picked that up from the Denver Post. So, yeah, it could be. I mean,
Maybe they beat California to officially doing it.
I bet that's what it is. Yeah. And I don't know how I feel about this next story on here.
You know what? I'm wrong. So it's the University of California system will no longer consider S.A.T. or A.C.T. scores. So it's not the whole state. I think it's just one university.
Okay. Oh, yeah, like UCLA, California.
So does that
Berkeley,
mean
what
that
have you.
CU and CSU, is that what that's saying?
It's all public colleges.
Any public, really?
So the private schools they could still require it. But yeah, publicly funded colleges in Colorado no longer require the ACT or the
My gut
SAT.
tells me that's not good, but I'd have to research it more and see what the reasoning is behind it. And
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that either because, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Breaking news
Yeah.
coming in on the phone. Here we go.
So, yeah, I don't know what to think about that either. I mean, you kind of want to know. I mean, don't you think you should have to qualify in some way?
Yeah,
I mean,
I do.
I think, don't get me wrong, everybody should have a right to college. In fact, I'm okay if at California, certain places, there's free college, junior community college. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I mean, if that's where my tax dollars are going, so be it. I want an educated society.
Well, not to take us off course, but let's
Yeah.
be honest. Anyone that wants to learn anything, if you have the effort and the time,
Yeah.
you just go online.
Well,
I mean, you can learn it. Almost every online, MIT has courses, Harvard has courses.
that is so true.
Almost anything you want to learn, you can go on there and find.
A friend of mine went on Facebook and found so many things that scientists who have been studying for years missed.
Oh, yeah. No, but I'm being serious. I mean, you can figure out a world of courses. There's all those classes, Udemy, Khan.
You really
I mean,
can.
there are
and in fact,
unlimited.
you can get a college degree. It seems to me, at least, you can actually get a college degree without ever stepping on that campus. Well, I know you can because
Yeah.
a friend of mine in Texas just signed up for online graduate courses
Sure.
at New York University.
Yeah.
And I know she ain't going to New York to,
Well,
once
and
a
I
week or
keep getting
anything.
targeted for blockchain out of MIT. So they're doing courses on that. And there's one that's paid, but then there's other free ones. I
You
mean,
should get an MIT degree.
for blockchain.
How cool would that be?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how I feel about that either because I do think that while college should be accessible to everybody, and I do still think that I don't know if I want to use the word qualifications,
There should be a baseline.
but there should be a baseline. I mean,
So-
you gotta have a C average to play sports in high school. Why would you not?
Well, and I
have to
guess
have
that's
something
why-
like that to,
I'd want to learn more because if it's not going to be an ACT or an SAT, then what is it? Your GPA,
I don't know.
but you don't have to take a test to prove it. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll have to learn more about that.
And I say that. Does Colorado have a no pass, no play rule in high school? Because in Texas, where I'm from, if you didn't make a C average, you couldn't play.
Well, all the good sports athletes
Unless, of course,
always
the coach fixed your grades.
right. I was going to say they always have a C average.
Yeah.
Come on.
When they first passed no pass, no play in Texas, I had just moved to Alabama, and I was interviewing a football coach from Arab High School. It's spelled ARAB, but it's Alabama, so they pronounce it Arab.
Okay.
Just like in Texas, they don't pronounce it Palestine, it's Palestine. But anyway, I was sitting there with the coach, and he said, "Y'all just did that no pass, no play down there, didn't you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I don't know what I think about that." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well," he said, "I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I think kids ought to study, but kicking a kid off a team." And I just point blank asked him, I said, "Coach, would you play a kid if you only knew 60% of the playbook?" He said, "No, I wouldn't." That's a good point.
Yeah, it is a good point.
Yeah. So, and another big thing on our website today is if you haven't been vaccinated, and again, I don't know how I feel about this either. Now you and I've talked. You know that I do believe in vaccinations. I've been vaccinated, but they're offering $5 million. 5 people are going to win $1 million for going out and getting vaccinated. I mean, hurrah for pushing the vaccines and trying to make us all safer, but really, you're gonna pay somebody $1 million to go do this?
Yeah,
It's 5 lucky people. It's a lottery.
I guess I just look at what could you do with that $5 million.
Yeah, what could you do with
You
that $5 million?
you could spread that out and probably go help a lot of people.
And I haven't studied the issue enough to know if it's retroactive.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because why am I not eligible?
Well, so what prompted that, if you followed it, was I believe, Illinois. Either Illinois or Indiana, the governor did it, and then you had Kyle Clark from 9 News reach out to Governor Polis and say, "Hey, why don't we do this?" And then he said, "Okay," and did it. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure what.
So I don't know. I'm on the fence on that one. I'm glad that safety is being pushed, but I mean, that's $5 million.
You could do a lot with that. You could.
You could. And of course, we have our weekly poll question this week. It's, do you think there should be a congressional investigation into what happened on January 6th? And we're getting some interesting response to that. As you know, our poll questions do get some interesting responses.
That is true.
I thought the one we had previously about the prison being reopened was a good question.
How did that end up?
The vast majority of people, the overwhelming majority, I don't remember the exact percentage, but it was like in the mid-80s, think yes, it should be.
Huh.
And I can understand that. I mean, it would be great for the economy here. It would bring people here. So I can understand. And I also understand the people who say, well, we shouldn't put people in prison for money. And if that's why we're putting people in prison, I agree. But my thought is, if you're putting bad people behind bars for the right reason, I don't care if it's for profit or non-profit. I don't care. Get the bad people off the streets. That's my opinion. So, and from what I understand, this group that ran this prison really was trying to do it for the right reasons.
Right.
And if that's the case, well, then reopen it. I'm fine with that.
And it definitely has an economic impact on all of these areas if you're going to close all of those.
I mean, I don't think it's like people are going to go out and start planting evidence so they can get more people in prison and up the profit margin. I don't think that. And again, like I said, as long as we're getting bad people off the street, that's the main thing with me.
Right.
So,
what's this?
This is a picture that Jan Knapp in our office took of when lightning hit a tree the other night during a storm.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that was some bad storms the last couple of weeks.
It was. And that is north of town.
And a couple of those strikes were close.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were in town, but they were over the weekend.
We were in town.
There's a couple cracks, and it was quick.
I was really worried about the folks up in Lyman because they were under a tornado warning for a bit.
We've had a few out here.
Yeah.
It didn't come to fruition, but
yeah, I mean, life on the plains, you learn a little bit more.
We've had some interesting weather this spring. And then I see this one. This makes me excited for the kids.
The pool is opening June the 1st. Last year it didn't open until July, and the slide I don't think ever opened. There were parts, you couldn't go into, but this year
pool's open. I know the splash park is open. My boys were just over there today, so that's good.
Yeah, I've got grandkids coming later today, so
I know Old Town
down there.
I saw they filled all the spots for the Can show and the gun.
That story is right here.
Oh, is that right on there? Look at that.
Those actually start this weekend.
Awesome.
So, yeah. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be here this weekend to see them because I've got to be in Denver for my daughter's wedding. But it's every Saturday throughout the summer, and I'm excited about getting down there and seeing those. That's a cool thing. Old Town is a tremendous tourist attraction.
I know, and anyone listening that hasn't been down there, you should go see it.
You really should.
It is awesome, and the barn. I mean, it's just a phenomenal. It's a phenomenal place for Burlington to have, and it's very well run by Nikki Wall. She does an amazing job.
It is. I have an idea for the barn. I can't really discuss it right now. You and I have talked about it.
Is this where you're going to turn it into a Bigfoot sanctuary?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll turn it into a Bigfoot sanctuary and museum. And
gotcha.
And
I'm kidding. I don't remember what we talked about.
That will bring people here.
You think so?
People here. Well, I don't know. I don't. Nikki didn't tell me not to talk about it, so I guess I can.
Well,
say,
let's pause on that. We'll
Okay.
pause on that until we know more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just
because
leave
that could
it.
be a big release.
I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. But it's not going to happen for a while, even if it does happen.
Okay.
So, and
oh, I know what you're talking about.
And again,
But yeah,
it was,
that would be a good thing to announce.
and it was
So,
just a conversation. So
a
I don't
good
want anyone
conversation.
thinking that. I don't want anyone thinking, oh, they've got big breaking news, this big thing.
No.
No, nothing like that. It was just a conversation.
But I remember what you're talking about, and that
But
would
the
be cool.
conversation did get me excited about
That would
what,
be cool.
what possibly.
It's
yeah.
an awesome venue for a wide variety of things.
Nikki does an amazing job running that place. And you're right. If you've not been to Old Town, I know people tend to take for granted things in their own town. Like I used to work in an office that was 6 blocks from Six Flags Over Texas. I never went, even though the company I worked for gave us annual passes. Not a big roller coaster guy, so
Gotcha.
but even if you live in Burlington, go see it because they're refurbishing some things. They're always looking at this and that to make it more enticing. And I mean, if you haven't been out there in a while, even if you live in the area, go because it's
Well, there's a lot of
worth the
cool
visit.
events coming there this summer.
Anybody who comes to town to visit us, we always take them to Old Town. And now, especially with the gunfights and what have you, it's a must. Another big item coming up this weekend is the 60th annual Little Britches Rodeo. I have to confess, even I have, in the course of my career as a writer, I have written a lot about rodeos, but I never participated in a rodeo. I think when I was a kid, I participated in some event called sand surfing or something, and that lasted until I fell off the board. And so
There you go.
But I do. I love rodeos. They're awesome. Now, I've never heard of the Little Britches Rodeo before, but it looks pretty cool.
Good.
So yeah, go check that out. The Carousel is opening back up after not being open last year.
That's cool.
That is super cool. And,
That is cool.
I mentioned I have our
Memorial Day weekend, right? Is that when it's
Yep.
opening? Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is opening Saturday.
Saturday.
So
this coming weekend.
And like I said, I'll be in Denver on Saturday, but I will be back on Sunday. Yes, Sunday we're coming back. And our granddaughters, both of them, have said they really want to see this carousel.
It's fun.
Whatever else they do
little
here.
kids love it.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
and they're 7 and almost 5. So
Okay.
so they're gonna love it, and that is so cool that it's back open. That is such a great thing for the city. We've got Old Town on the one side, we've got the Carousel on the other, and for a town this size to have 2 tourist attractions like that is amazing.
It is, and there's more on the way, and I know Main Street, there's plans for that, hopefully coming down the pipe, so yeah.
So, yeah, and again, I'm going to say it just like I did with Old Town. If you haven't been to the Carousel in a while or what have you, go check it out. It is super, super fantastic. We may have a new superintendent by this time next week.
Okay, good news.
They've narrowed it down to 2 finalists. It is a gentleman by the name of Clarence. He goes by Chuck Smithy, who is the principal at Trinidad High School. And he's also the athletic director. And it's a lady named Mitzi. And forgive me, Mitzi, if I mispronounce your name and you become the superintendent, because I haven't met you yet. I'm just going on what it looks like to me. Swiatkowski.
Okay. I'm not going to try. That's all you.
Yeah, I'm just going to, just like Coach Krzyzewski, just Coach K.
Yep.
She might be Superintendent Sweitz or something.
Yep. So next week, that's when.
We can go back to work.
Yeah, there you go. Tornadoes.
I love how it wakes you up in the morning at 7. Time to get up, go to work. Noon, you can go eat lunch. 1 o'clock, go back to work. But there is not a whistle at 5 to tell you when to go home.
That's because you're supposed to stay and work.
That's right. I mean,
Yeah. If it's going off at 5, that's bad. Because that's when the tornadoes probably really here.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So, yeah, we might have a new superintendent this time next week. Wade Waller, the board president, said he was hoping to name one by June the 1st. Of course, we do have the holidays, so
maybe by next Tuesday or Wednesday.
It's on June the 1st. But
sure.
Yeah, pretty soon we're going to have
that's
a new
good
superintendent.
News.
And you know, I sure hope that a lot of people go to the reception for Tom Satterley. He served this, and that's tomorrow. He served this community so well for so long, taking care of people's children in school, local boy, and just a good guy. I really think the world of Tom. So I hope people bid him a nice farewell. Tom, I'm going to be out of town, unfortunately.
Is the info for the reception on there?
It's not on the front page. But we have had it on the front page before. We've had it on the website.
Where's the reception at? Checking the. Is it going to be in the paper?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Okay. Yes, and also on the website as well. And we've had it in the paper in the past, and we've had it on the website, driving people to, because we could have waited until this week to post it, but people want to schedule things.
Sure.
So we had it on there like 7 to 10 days ago to give people time to schedule it. But Tom, if you see this, it wasn't that I didn't want to be there. It's just I am out of town for my daughter's wedding. So as much as I love you, man, I might find that a little bit difficult to explain to her.
Yeah, you better go to the wedding.
Yeah. But, Tom, I do wish you best of luck, and I look forward to sitting down with you before you do leave town. And just really if anyone wants to say thanks to Tom, I really think you should, and because he served this community extremely well for so long, and he loves education, and he loves Burlington.
Very cool.
Just felt like it was time to move on.
Yeah.
We sometimes reach that point. Hospital has a new CEO, and he's not here yet, but his name is Brian Bogle. And I believe he starts June the 1st also. So
a lot going on next week.
Yes, he starts June the 1st. I've not met him, but they run a pretty good ship here at the hospital. So if they think he's a good guy, I'm pretty sure he's a good guy.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to meet him.
And they're having the memorial service Monday at the cemetery, and they need veterans to show up and help plant flags. Now, anybody can show up. You don't have to be a veteran.
We should make sure that we put that on the Facebook.
But they would especially like veterans to show up, just to, for support and
okay.
And my dad served in World War II, and so Veterans Day is extremely important to me, as are all the holidays that celebrate our armed forces. I know it sounds cliche, but honestly, we do owe our very freedom to these people.
That's not cliche. That's real. We can't forget that.
Well,
we're a few generations past World War I, World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam,
yeah.
Iraq, but some of these big wars. So it's a big deal. I agree.
And every one of these wars, was against people who, for lack of a better way of putting it, they wanted to control the world.
Right, and it's easy to forget and just pack it in like it's a 3-day weekend, right? Like I'm off if I work at a bank or whatever and forget what it's about. But this one's a big one, just like the 4th of July. Now, those two are big ones to me.
Now, has this country been in conflict that I personally questioned? Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. There have been conflicts that we've been involved in that I've looked at and gone, should we be sending our young people and what have you? But the bottom line is, it irritates me to no end, and irritate is a soft word. It angers me to no end when I see people getting, again, I don't know what word to use, but abusive or overly angry at soldiers. They're doing their job.
Right. And Memorial Day is just about, it's about
Yeah.
the sacrifice and the celebration of those sacrifices.
They're doing their job. They're not the ones who started any wars.
Right.
I mean, hell, they're not even the ones who can end it.
Yeah. So
They're just doing their job.
and that's why Memorial Day is that's why we're celebrating it.
Yeah, exactly. And these people, we owe our very freedom to them.
I agree.
And I don't care what side of political fence you fall on or what have you. You have to agree that the very reason that you can even have those disputes is these people.
Yep.
Try having some conversations that you and I have had in Russia. You couldn't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, there's a picture of Brian Bogle if you want to see what he looks like.
Okay. New CEO.
Yep. Lifestyles, got some great recipes on there. 7-layer bean dip. I love bean dip. I do.
Got to get there. Got to get those recipes in.
Yep. Photo feature, first day of summer vacation.
Oh, look at that. The Rocket Park.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That's one of the first things I said when I saw it online before we moved here. The Rocket Park. And this is
sports.
Awesome. This is awesome. Michael Long threw Burlington's second no-hitter of the season.
Wow.
They're 6-2. They're a good team. The two teams that have beat them are ranked in the state. Lyman being, of course, Lyman beats everybody, but they didn't beat Stratton's volleyball team. So, but Lyman, number 1 in Class 2A, is one of the losses. The other's to Calhan, which is their state. They're in the top 10. I don't remember where. But Burlington they're 6-2. Out of their 6 wins, they have a perfect game from Michael Gutierrez, a no-hitter from Michael Long, and then yesterday, Michael Long and Dominic Conradi combined for a 1-hitter.
Wow, they're pitching. They're pitching their little.
3 of their wins have been perfect game, no-hitter, and a 1-hitter.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, we'll keep watching them because
they have offense too. I mean, they won this game 15-0.
Oof.
Burlington's pretty good at track too, man. They're I think they're going to send some kids to the state meet. They did really well at the Lyman meet. They did really well at their own meet a couple of weeks ago. So I think we're going to see some kids from Burlington make the trek to state. Back to baseball for a minute. Burlington, I mentioned, I think they're going to be a playoff team. They're in the same conference as Lyman, so that's going to be hard to win. But I definitely think they're going to be a playoff team. Right now, they're ranked 12th in the state.
How many games are they playing, if you know? Because I know it's a weird season.
It is a weird season, and
because it sounds like they played 8.
Yeah, I think they're roughly halfway through the schedule now, give or take a couple of games.
So it's going over the summer, a good portion.
They're 2-1 in conference, and they'll play, I think, 6 conference games. So they have beaten Stratton, which would probably be their biggest competitor for second place. But this conference may actually have 3 playoff teams, because even though Stratton is 4-5, 8 of their 9 games have been against teams that are state ranked. So
that's good.
Yeah,
they're holding their own. 3
of their wins have been against state ranked teams. All of their losses have been to state ranked teams. They have Stratton Liberty has played not only the number 1 team in Class 2A, Lyman, they played the number 1 team in 1A, Holly. How many teams do you know play 2 number 1 teams?
Yeah. They're doing good then.
I mean, so yeah, they're 4-5, but they're ranked 9th in the state in Class 1A. And yeah, I realize it does come down to you got to win the games, but they are winning some games. They've beaten 3
tough.
Yeah, they've beaten 3 state ranked teams this year.
Yeah.
So and so I think it's very possible that you see Burlington and Stratton have a strong enough RPI that they both make the playoffs as a wild card. I definitely think that's the case with Burlington because they had a sound victory over Stratton. And Burlington's 2 losses have been to teams above them. But I wouldn't be surprised if Stratton Liberty snuck in on the RPI ratings as well, because you do get rewarded for playing a tough schedule. And my gosh, it doesn't.
You
get any
should.
tougher
Your
than that.
RPI should be up there.
Yeah.
Then.
And then we've got all conference volleyball players named from the area schools, of course. And we had 4, 9. Looks like 13 girls on here, including Burlington's Zoe White, several from Stratton Liberty. And I'd be remiss if I didn't congratulate Stratton Liberty on the volleyball season they had.
Outstanding season.
Getting to state. I think last time we talked, we were talking about how they should win that region and go to state. Well, they did, and they played a very tough Simla team. I did go down there and watch the match. But yeah, and they've got some serious talent back as well. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see them make another state run come the fall. I actually thought it was kind of cool. I actually was, well, obviously being a local team, I was wanting them to win state. But I thought, how cool would it be if they won a state championship in the spring and they came back in the fall when volleyball returns to its normal time slot
and won that
and won it again?
Yeah, but they'll come back and now they have a little bit of experience.
Yeah.
Even the younger players. So
yeah, so that's a look at what's going in the paper.
Awesome.
And looking ahead to the future, when I held up here, I'll hold up the front page again. And this little writing up here is some things that we have coming up in the next couple of issues. We mentioned the new superintendent. We'll have something on that when it happens. We will probably have something on the Carousel reopening. In fact, I talked to Sherry Webb, one of our writers this morning, about going out and talking to some people and what are their thoughts about it being back and what have you. And then we have Dwayne Lewis. Does that name ring a bell?
Mm-hmm.
And he was a basketball great for Burlington back in the 60s, I believe.
I'm sure I've heard that name.
Dwayne, and he went on to coaching greatness at Ala Mesa and Alameda. Dwayne is going into the National High School Athletic Coaches Association Hall of Fame.
Oh, that'll be a good article.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, and Sherry is working on a story that will come up in the next few weeks. And I want to put this out there because any publicity for Ipawa is good publicity. Apparently, they had a cat that was somehow reunited with its owner after a year.
Wow.
That's all I know. I don't know the story. Someone sent me an email about it. And by the way, any story ideas that you want to email us or call us about, shoot them to us on Facebook, what have you. Very, very welcome. So, but this particular one, yeah, that's all I know.
Huh. We'll have to learn more about that from Apollo. That's cool.
I'm intrigued. And this time next week, I will have a married daughter. And
well, next week, we're good for Wednesday, I think, because we'll take a break from what we're doing. We're going to be helping CTC, Kit Carson Communities That Cares. They're doing next Wednesday, I believe it's Wednesday, they're doing a kind of like a life skills with about 47 kids that are going to be there.
Get some pictures.
We'll get pictures, a little live streaming, but 6 different stations, like learning how to do car repair, cooking, just basic life stuff. Pretty neat. So we'll take a break and come shoot this. And then my last thought is just congratulations on your daughter.
Oh, thanks.
Getting married. That's a big, big moment. So I hope that goes well this weekend.
Yeah, she's married a fantastic guy. They've been together for several years, and he's an amazing guy.
Well, good. Be safe. Have a good weekend, and then we'll pick it up next week.
We will.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.